What's up guys, it's Ivan, and in this video I want to share with you my take on how to be assertive with people that aren't close to you, people that are trying to get on your territory unless you do something about it, people that are maybe a bit hostile, okay? And the template I use for this is I make my ground clear. So the first thing you have to do, the first rule, so this is the template, is make your ground clear. Put your foot down and say, hey, this is my territory. I know this is my territory. You now know that I know that this is my territory. Do you still want to cross it? Okay, this is kind of what is happening. So this isn't exactly what you would do. You would put your foot down and say, hey, this is my territory, right? But metaphorically speaking, this is what you're doing, and I'll be giving you examples. Most people, believe it or not, will say, no, I don't want to cross that territory. My bad, you didn't understand me. A select few people will say, yeah, I'm gonna keep going. At which point, you have the right to stop them because it is your territory. If you let them proceed and keep going further, well, they're gonna run all over you, okay? So you have to put a stop. So let me give you two examples of what I mean, okay? Let's suppose you have, and these are usually examples I bring you are from real stories, okay? I just don't name names and stuff like that. But let's suppose you have a friend who always uses you, okay? Who always, for example, you're in school, that friend always calls you and always says, hey, can you give me an answer to this homework question? Hey, can you help me cheat on the test? Hey, can you do this project for me? And, you know, being a good friend, you do that, right? Let's suppose you're in this position. Okay. Now, that person, when you talk to that friend, they say, oh, you know what? I hate friends who use you. So your friend, even though they're using you, they're telling you that. They're saying, oh, I hate friends who use you. That is such bad behavior. You shouldn't have friends or you shouldn't have that friend if that friend always uses you. Okay. How do you be assertive in that case? How do you take that person and point them smack dab to what they are doing to you? How do you make that tie, okay? So what would the nice person say? The nice person would say, oh, okay, yeah, cool, I agree with you. Implicitly saying, hey, just keep using me, right? What would the aggressive person say? It would say, screw you, you just told me this, screw off, I hate you, right? You're telling me this, but you're using me, screw off. The assertive person would say, hey, wait a minute, right? Putting your foot down, metaphorically, wait a minute, you just told me that you hate people, you know, and friends who always use you, but from what I can tell, our relationship, most of the time you call me and you ask me for help, even though I never ask you for anything, right? So what exactly do you mean by that? Now, in this real life example, right, what happened in real life, the person backed down and they said, you know what, I didn't mean it that way. That is not at all what I meant. So what happened here is you put your foot down, you said, whoa, this is my territory, don't cross it. You know I know this is my territory, right? Do you still want to cross it? The person said no. That is not what I meant, they said. I meant it like this, blah, 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 okay? So now by being assertive, you put your limits, you put your foot on the ground, and you made it clear to the person that they shouldn't cross your territory, okay? So this is an example of you kind of putting your foot down and saying, hey, we both know where we're at, stick to your territory, okay? Now, another example I'll give you is I was actually working at a bank for some time, and I was a financial service representative there. So I was, you know, I was helping people open accounts, give them loans, give them mortgages and stuff like that. And one of the ways in which I got my business was through teller referrals. So the tellers would find clients and they would bring them to me. Now, one of the tellers, this one time, came to me into my office and asked me, Ivan, are you free? Could you take my client? Which would be a referral for me and for the teller. As I come out with the teller to the front desk, another teller is talking to the client, okay? Let's call her Susie. So that other teller's name is Susie, and the teller that came into my office, let's call her Rebecca. Susie is talking to the client and saying, hey, Ivan, I found a client for you. This is my client. Would you like this client? Even though Rebecca was the first teller who found that client, right? So if you were Rebecca, what would you do in this case? Obviously, Susie stole your client. She knew it was your client. What do? Well, in real life, what happened was Rebecca was overly nice. She didn't do anything at all. She didn't talk to Susie. She didn't do anything. But, a few weeks down the road, she went ahead and backstabbed Susie. Is this the correct way to approach things? I don't think so. When I heard the story from Rebecca and what actually happened, I was actually really furious as to why Rebecca didn't do something right there and then on the spot. So, in my opinion, what should have happened to be assertive was Rebecca should have come up to Susie after I got the client and said, put the foot down metaphorically, right? Not being aggressive right away and saying, screw you, that was my client, I'm not talking to you again, okay? Put the foot down first and see, does this person want to cross the line? So she should have said, hey, Susie, I was actually talking to the client first. I don't know if you may have noticed, but I was actually talking to the client first, and I came into Yvonne's office to see if he was available. So I'm not sure if you saw that, but that is what happened. So this client is actually my referral. So what you're doing here is you're putting the foot down. That's what I would have done. I would have said that and put the foot down and said, do you want to kind of cross this line? Because that's what happened. So unfortunately, we don't know what would have happened in that case, but at least Susie would have known that these things can't just keep going. These things can't proceed. So instead of being overly nice, as Rebecca did in this case, she should have pursued it and said, hey, I know what happened. This is my client. This is my territory. Don't do that again. This client is mine, and I'll make sure that he ends up mine. But you don't do it again, right? She would have put that foot down so it doesn't happen again. And that's what's being assertive. You're not being an asshole. That was your client. So people that are thinking, oh no, that's too rude, you're going to start a fight. That was your client. Going in and talking to the manager behind the person's back is also not the approach I like. That's not being assertive. That's going in behind the person's back and kind of having this secret relationship. That doesn't do anything at all. What's the manager going to do? He's going to come up and say, oh, by the way, guys, make sure to give referrals to the right tellers. No, that's not going to happen. You need to make the personal approach and come in and just be assertive and say, hey, this was my client. This is my territory. Don't cross it. That's all. You're not being rude. You're not being an asshole. That was your client. How are you an asshole? But you're being nice at the same time because you're saying, hey, you may not have noticed, but I was actually talking to the client, and as I went in, asking Yvonne if he was free, you managed to speak to the client, and I really appreciate that you were there for them, but this was my client, so you can't say it was his, right? Something like that. So this is the template I would use for being assertive with other people that are not, overly nice to, and that don't mean you necessarily good. These are people that may be hostile and may be trying to impede on you. So the template is, again, put the foot down and check, hey, what did you mean by that? Are you sure you want to cross this territory? If that's what you meant? Again, most of the time, people will say, no, that's not what I meant. I don't want to go there. I'm serious. Most of the time, people will say that, okay? And that's what you want to do. You want to create this kind of aura of respect around yourself. You want people to respect you, right? So that is my take on how to be assertive with people outside of your close family and friends. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. I'll be happy to help. Comments, questions, concern. Otherwise, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I'll be trying to cover a lot of different, life videos like this from my take. But thank you so much again for watching. I will see you in the next video.